Arachnophobes beware! You are seeing a giant spider on screen. Hey guys, what's up? Pitmarth right here, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Whoa, that volume's very loud. In the last episode, we went through the ice cavern and picked up our newly acquired iron boots. And shortly after that, which I believe was actually what we did last episode, we did side questing, which included picking up the almighty Big Goron's sword. And in this episode, we're going to be starting the water temple, but before we do that, I'm actually back in the House of Skulltula. We have 30 tokens, and therefore it is time to pick up our next reward, and this one's actually pretty useful. And I figured I'd go ahead and get this now before we head into the temple. That is the Giant's Wallet. This is the largest wallet in the game, and it will enable you to carry up to 500 rupees. So once again, the biggest wallet in the game, and definitely glad to have it, so if I pick up any rupees in the temple, I'll be able to actually keep them and they will not go to waste. Hit the buttons a little too fast there, but I'm ready to head into the water temple. I'm going to give you guys the best advice I possibly can. I'm probably going to grab the map and compass in this temple so I can explain things a little better, but while I don't have them, I will do my best to explain going through it. Now, in entering the temple, before we get started here, I'm not going to count the dungeon item in this case. There's 4 main items you're going to want while you're in this dungeon. And that's the Ocarina of Time, the hookshot, the fairy bow, and the bombs. Now, the 2 that are used the most of these 4 are the hookshot and the Ocarina of Time. So I recommend keeping these on 2 of your C buttons at all times. And every time you need to interchange an item, just interchange between the bombs and the arrows. The bombs aren't used too often. The arrows are sometimes, but these 2 are used the most, so never take them off your equipment screen for any reason. So to enter the temple, all you need is the hookshot and the iron boots. Technically, you are going to need the Zora tunic as well, so I would say, yeah, go ahead and have that. No reason not to. And shoot this little switch, and that will open up the temple for us. Is it possible to do this without the Zora tunic? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I wish I did, but I don't have an answer for it. So we're just going to go ahead and jump straight into the temple here. So welcome to the infamous water temple. Let's go ahead and start by taking off the iron boots. This is another thing that the temple can be a bit annoying about, is every time you need to put on or take off your iron boots, you are going to have to actually go into your subscreen and equip or unequip them. So this temple is kind of monotonous. There's a lot of repetitiveness to it, but the single premise is basically there's 3 floors. We're on the top one right now. It doesn't go any higher than this. So you've got 1 floor here, your second one's here, and your third one's down at the bottom. Now the water level, as you can probably already guess, is interchangeable, and there's different ways to change it. So at times you'll have to have the water being at different levels to unlock different things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in, quite literally. So the first thing you're going to want to do when going into this temple is note that it's a lot like the Forest Temple. I mentioned this while we were there, and the fact that in the first part of this, primarily what you're doing is searching for 3 different keys. So the first way you want to go is to your right from starting the temple on the bottom floor. It's going to have these 2 torches here, so that's how you'll know where to go. Navigate through this little maze, and you get started with a lovely little cutscene of the adult Ruto, who has earrings. Apparently we're her fiancé. And after her complaining about how we're a terrible person for leaving her alone all these years, even though that wasn't our fault at all, and we kind of did draw the Master Sword, but we had no way of knowing it was going to seal our spirit in the, in the Light Temple for 7 years. Point is, of course, she wants to save her people, which, is understandable. So she asks you to help her and destroy the evil monster in the temple. Inside the water temple, there are 3 places which you can change the water level, as I mentioned. She says she'll lead the way, and she's going to disappear off screen, and you're not going to see her again until the temple's done. That's just how it is. Sorry. You're not going to be seeing her again. So if you wanted to see Ruto again, there you go. You've seen her. That's all you're getting. However, you do need to follow her that way, so let's go ahead and take off the iron boots and flow up to the top. Make a little note of this crack right here that's in the wall. It's on the 2nd floor. We'll come back to this later whenever the water's at the right level. Right now it is not, though, so we're going to float up to the very top. and head through this door. Here we've got some really weird looking enemies. These are basically just spikes. They're just going to run at you, and they'll, be spiked balls. Eventually, on their own time, they'll stop moving, or if you attack them. Point is, just destroy them all as easily as you can. Best way to do it is quick spin. You could shield. I think quick spinning works better. It gets rid of them very quickly, so that's what I would recommend doing. They're prone to drop bombs, if I recall correctly. Bombs would work on them as well if you want to use that, so it's kind of up to you, but I find the quick spin is just as effective as anything else that I'd be using. And here we have our map. So that is the map taken care of. Now let's see if we can't get the compass soon enough. It's not too far out of the way. Here you'll also notice that there's a Triforce symbol on the wall here. These are what are used to raise and lower the levels of water. There's only 3 in the area. The one that's on the top floor here will lower the water all the way down to nothing. The one on the lowest floor will make it go up to the 2nd level, and the one on the 2nd will bring it up to the 3rd. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump down here now. You won't take fall damage from that because they knew you'd have to jump down. And go ahead and make a custom fire arrow of sorts and light both of the torches. These will go out relatively quickly, so you do need to do this kind of fast. Once you get both of those lit up, that door will open. And you'll be introduced to another enemy that you'll see quite often in this area, the Shellblade. Let's get a little bit of info on them, shall we? Its internal muscle is its weak point. So that's right, the best way to deal with these guys is have your hook shot out and have it ready to fire, and then just walk forward towards them until they open up their mouths, and then just let it go. And there you go, that will kill them. They're very, very prone. In fact, I think they always drop arrows. So these guys will always drop arrows for you. That is the first of many keys that will be using in this dungeon, so make sure that you go and get that because you are going to need it. So now we're going to head back to the main room. So now let's go ahead and go to the south entrance. This is the one that's going to be on your left from exiting the area. This is optional. This is just for a Skulltula if you want it. If not, it's not that big a deal. But let's go ahead and get out of bombs. And blow this up. Switch back to our iron boots. As you've probably already no doubt noticed from going underwater prior, outside of the water temple or anything like that, the only item that you have that's going to work underwater as like a C-stick item is going to be your hook shot. So if you have to fight something underwater, that's what you're going to be using. So once you're at the bottom, let go of the iron boots. You don't even have to fight that Shellblade as I just showed. Head up here. It's a terrible shot. Hit this. Kill the 2 Tektites that are in this area. There's a switch right here. You can do a quick spin in order to open this up. I think a bomb might work as well, but the quick spin wouldn't be using a consumable, so that's what I'd recommend. And there's a Skulltula token for you. There's also some supplies if you need to restock. They're pretty generous with your supplies, so that's really not too big of the issue. The infamy of the water temple does come primarily from the huge puzzle mechanic in it. It's not really an issue of running out of health or anything like that. We'll head back down here again. Shellblade is still there, so we're going to ignore it yet again. And head back into the main room once more. Now we're going to want to head to our left again. This is the west. If you did not do that optional room, it's going to be the room directly across from where you just came, from where the 2 torches are. So we're going to jump up here and push this block in. Whenever the water's not lowered, you can't push this block, so this is the only time you can. So we're going to keep pushing this until it drops down into a slot, which should be right about here. Jump down, put on your iron boots. Take your iron boots off. And here we have a room that kind of revolves around the water pillar. I don't think you can... Well, you can shoot these guys with arrows, but I'm not going to bother with it. Right here, all you gotta do is hit a switch. This will cause a water pillar to rise, and you'll just jump across onto the water pillar and then jump across to the door. If you fall down, there's a hook shot target that will let you hook shot to the side of the room that you came in on, so no need to worry about that. Here we have a room that's kind of got like a spinning water thing going around, jacuzzi-esque almost. And what you need to do here is time it so that you land on this little spot right here. And once you do that, you'll notice that there is a switch in this dragon's mouth and also a door that you need to go over there. So what you're going to do is hit the switch. That will open up the door over there. This door is on a timer, so you do have to hurry here. Grab that target and then hit the start button to switch out your menu here, because you don't need the iron boots to walk under this. Just float over it, ignore the shell blades because they're just there to be annoying. And grab the second key. Now there's another switch right here that will enable you to reopen this, so you're not stuck or anything like that. No need to worry about it. Just jump down. Put your iron boots on long enough to be able to get under the door. Ignore the shell blades and go up here once again. And there you have it. So yeah, whenever it comes to the shell blades, a lot of times when they're in intersections like that, you could really just ignore them. So yeah, not really that big a deal. I wouldn't worry about it anyway. Here you might want to kill the Tektite just so you don't get distracted while you're hookshotting across here, but this is what you could use if you fall down, so you don't have to activate that water pillar again, you can just hookshot back across. Switched our iron boots. On this one specific spot, you actually will have to keep your iron boots on and use the hookshot because the water stops right here, but you'll notice that the actual spot that you need to get to is higher up, so if you take them off, you'll just be floating in the water, so you actually do have to keep them on in that one intersection. It's kind of weird to remember that, but that's the one that you have to do it for. This last area here, I believe, is not of any use right now, so we're not going to bother with that. So right now you should have 2 keys, so what we're going to do is head into the central area right here, because you can go inside this. I think the entrance is right here. This will use up one of your keys, which is fine. And we're going to turn around, and there will be a hookshot target right there. You can also have the camera have a nice little seizure if you angle this correctly. There's a spot in this room that gives the camera an utter seizure, and it looks really funny, but that might have been it right there. No, I guess that wasn't it. Oh well. Enough of trying to glitch the game. Oops. So I guess we're trying to play the song too fast. But yeah, go ahead and play go ahead and play Zelda's Lullaby and raise the water up to the 2nd level. You'll notice that right there in the cutscene that there was a little spot that we can actually go because this little platform here was blocking it, but now that the water's raised, it raised along with that, so we can go ahead and head down there. I want to avoid falling on the left or right side here because there are spikes on either side, so I'd like to prevent myself from getting hurt by those. No, stay with the iron boots there. Okay, now I'm just being picky. If you want to step on the spikes, they'll do minor damage, but it's not like insta-kill or anything. You'll be fine. And we'll head through this passage right here. And we've got a switch. I'd recommend staying away from the switch when you hit it because it's going to drop a bunch of enemies on top of you. The thing about these little spike ball things that turn into rocks is if you stay far enough away from them, they're not going to activate. Like the shell blades, they don't actually start attacking you until you get too close. And once they're all dead, that will actually cause the 2nd area to appear right here. This first area up here didn't have anything except for the monsters. The 2nd one has what we're looking for. And that is a key! So we're back up to 2 keys again. So let's head down here. Now we don't need the iron boots anymore. For this room, I should say. We're still going to need the iron boots, but it's faster to swim with the normal boots on as opposed to the iron boots, so sorry if that looked a little weird camera angle-wise, but the point is we're going back into the room that we changed the water level in that had the Triforce symbol on it. Can I get up here? Thank you. And now we're going to go ahead and head through this door. It is going to shut behind you, so fair warning about that. So, I think we have to go east. And by east, I'll tell you which one east is because I'll know when I see it. It's not that one. Yeah, it is this one. East is the one that has the 2 jars on it when you look around. This is only optional. This is for the compass, but I do want to have the compass there so you guys can actually tell which way I'm going a little bit better. Besides, getting the compass is pretty simple. It's just this one room, so... There we go. You don't actually have to throw a bomb right there. I'm pretty sure you could fire an arrow at it, and I think the hook shot can make that target too. I'm pretty sure you're close enough to activate that. Any of those would work. But there we go. Now we got the compass as well. No one wants you to do that. Drop down. Yeah, see, it only took a quarter of a heart when I landed on it, so not that big a deal. Now, I did say at one point we would be getting the 3 main keys, and we are getting 3 in our inventory. This will be the 4th one, but we need to get one more. Because, as I told you earlier, whenever we first came in here, there was a cracked wall that we'd have to come back to later. This is whenever you'd want to go get it. So, let's head back to that room that had the torches in front of it on the bottom floor, and I took the long way to get there. I could have just gone the other direction, but that's okay. Head up here, now that the water is at the 2nd level instead of the 3rd one. Lay a bomb here. And there's our key. Not a very difficult one to get, it's just you have to remember, that's all. So, now that we've got our 3 keys, that's pretty much the difficult part of this dungeon, in my opinion. Is getting those first 4 keys. One of them you have to use to get to the other 2, but, you know. Difficult part's really done. Now, most of the locked doors that you're going to see in this dungeon are going to be on the west side, which is the side I'm opposite on, for those of you that don't know your compass directions, even though the map's right there. West is left, east is right, north is up, and south is down, for those of you that don't know them. Hopefully most of you do, but either way. We're heading to the west side, and we're going to unlock this door. There is a Tektite in this room that will try to fall down on top of you, so I'd recommend letting him jump down before you actually do this obvious puzzle. Mr. Tektite. There you are. Because if you're actually going up this, then you have to make sure you hit the switch while you're on this, or otherwise you can't get up here. But the thing is, if you're coming up here and the Tektite hits you, he's going to knock you back down, and you're going to have to wait until the water comes back down to redo the whole puzzle. So, might as well wait for him to show up and then, you know, take care of it then. So, we are back in the central room. It looks like we're not, but we are. So we're going to go ahead and play Zelda's Lullaby again. And this is going to raise the water up to the top level, which is what it was at originally. The only difference is now we have keys, and you need to have 2. If you don't have 2 keys at this point, then you're going to have to switch the water levels back and forth a couple times, so make sure you got it correct. Oh, I missed him. Come here, you. Come here. There we go. I'll take those hearts, though. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we are on the west side, and once again, you need to be on the west side, because the locked door is on the side. And we're in this waterfall room. We can get rid of the keys that are both here. Don't let them getting in the way. There is a gold skull on the wall, but you can't reach it right now. You could kill with arrows, but you would not be able to get the token. There was actually one also in that central room where we played Zelda's Lullaby to get the water up to its middle level. There's one there as well. But we couldn't reach it either, so. Unfortunately, this platform that we're standing on rises and falls, which makes this thing take time that it should not, but what are you going to do? So we're waiting for this to go back down until we get to actually see the target. There it is. And you're just going to keep hook-shotting up. And just keep going until you get close enough to the target that's on the very top here. I probably could have gotten it there, but I decided not to. There we go. And there we go. Not that hard. I need to stop saying there we go, but it's really not as hard as it looks. The first time I actually did have a lot of trouble with it, but it's not that bad. Here is basically a giant room that's going to revolve around this switch and raising and lowering the water for different reasons. I'm going to go with him. Quite often you'll have to raise the water in order to get the targets to be available here, and at other times you're going to want the statues to be lowered so you can actually climb across. I was about to say, how is he getting him, or how is he getting me and I'm not getting him? There we go. So we're going to have to lower it. Basically, it's just raising it, lowering it, lowering it over and over. It's not that difficult. This won't change the main room either. This only applies to this one solitary room. That was a terrible shot. All of these shots can be made without using the arrows, so no need to worry about that. There we go. I would recommend getting rid of the Tektites as you go along, though, because they're kind of annoying. Sword, arrows, whatever you want to do. The hook shot will only stun those guys. It won't actually do damage to them. Arrow-wise, I think it takes 2 to get rid of them. So, just fair warning about that. This might be the only shot you can't. No, you can make it, okay. So you don't need arrows for that room at all. There's more Tektites in here. These ones I'm fighting on level ground, though, so not that bad. If you want to avoid this like you can throw bombs at him. It will actually damage him, so I'd recommend doing that if you don't want to get your tunic or shield, or tunic and shield eaten. 2 bombs is all it takes to get rid of him, so. Hook shot across this so you don't have to worry about the spikes. I'll gladly take those, though. Thank you for the 60 rupees right there. I think these have magic. I didn't know you could climb up those. And, oh no, just more magic. Okay. Welcome to probably the coolest part, or at least what most people actually like about this dungeon, the mini-boss fight here. For those of you who have not seen the mini-boss in this, it's actually pretty cool. We are fighting... No, not the Ocarina. We're not fighting the Ocarina. We're fighting Dark Link. You can barely make him out over there, but yeah, he's there. Hey, buddy. So there's 2 ways to deal with this guy. You can either Z-target him or not. If you Z-target him, make sure you don't do a stabbing motion because he'll just jump on your sword like this. So don't even bother with that. Use front slashes like this. Or you can choose to fight him without the Z-targeting, which I think honestly is a little bit easier to do without. If you've got the Big Goron sword, this is also very easy. I'm not going to cheap out and only do it using the Big Goron sword, but if I use this, then basically it'll be very easy to get in close because of its really stupid good range. So just note that if you want to make this a lot easier, you can use the Big Goron sword. I'm not going to cheap it out anymore though, because it's a little unfair. You could also use Din's Fire if you wanted to, in order to hit him every single time because he can't block magic. And surprisingly enough, at least from whenever I've watched people do this, the Megaton Hammer is surprisingly effective against him too. Unfortunately, this becomes kind of a hack and slash fest no matter what you do. So, if you want to throw him really off guard, it's really kind of a combination of Z-targeting and not Z-targeting. It's kind of up to you. You can run away and quickly use a downward slash. What I prefer to do is just keep slashing forward, because you're gradually getting pushed forward to the point where instead of hitting each other, or blocking each other, you're actually going to damage each other, so you are going to get hit as well. You notice the outline of him does get darker over time, instead of, you know, the lightish gray color it was earlier, but... It's not an incredibly difficult fight, but it's really cool. A lot of people want to see it come back, and, you know, adapt it a little bit, and I'd love to see it come back. It would be really cool to see it again. So after going through this really weird room, we have obtained our dungeon item. I'll bet it's something really cool too, isn't it? Well, yes and no. It's the long shot. It's an upgraded hook shot. It extends twice as far. Not really a, not really a cool idea, but it is very, very useful. So let's go ahead and get out of this room, shall we? And the best way to do that is by playing the Song of Time to get this block out of here, and then promptly jumping down. And to be honest, the long shot feels like it's 3 times as far, or at least 2.5 times as far as the regular one. This one seems like it can extend a lot farther. So this room's filled with a lot of different vortexes in it. If you fall into one, you're going to have to start the room over. You've got kind of one of 2 options here. You can either go through with the iron boots or go through without using the iron boots. And I find, while the combination works the best, without them is what you're usually using. Come on. There we go. Waiting for that icon to show up. Just like the hook shot, the long shot can be used underwater, so make use of that. And it's also easier to pick up tokens with it, of course. So what I recommend doing in this room is sticking without the iron boots, with that exception of getting the token, and going over to this platform right here. One of these 2 things has a fairy in it. I'm full on fairies, so I'm not going to worry about that. But there is a fairy in here if you'd like it after the fight with Dark Link that you just had. The other one has arrows. I'm going to see if it'll come back through the wall here. There it is. Might as well go ahead and get the healing. And what you're going to have to do is shoot an arrow at the switch and then use the long shot to grab the treasure chest that's there. This might be the only spot where I would actually say use the iron boots. And as you jump in, just go ahead and equip them right here. And then carefully make your way over to the edge right here, because as you can see, the ground's not very stable, so you have to be very careful in where you jump up. If you start getting sucked into one of those vortexes, it is possible to get out, but it's a real struggle to actually get out of it, so be very careful if that happens. Or just let yourself get, you know, sucked into the vortex and restart the room. It's your call. Well, make sure you open this chest too, because it's got a key in it, and that's important. It seems like it was just there for, you know, the sake of being there, you know, something to grapple to, so you think it might be like, oh, just 5 rupees, whatever, don't care. No, it actually is a key, so make sure you pick it up. And we're back into this room that we saw earlier, so with the dragon head and the spinning vortexes and whatnot. I think this is where we got the second key. I'm going to go with second key. Either way.